I remember when the first couple of COVID cases were being shown on the news, and at that point, I didn't think anything of it because I honestly thought it was going to be another case of Ebola, be a national scare, and then it'll just die down. But then, as we progressed throughout the year, I realized it was a lot more than just a little couple cases here and there, and it ended up being a whole global pandemic. I remember when the first lockdown was announced, I was studying even for my A levels, and at that point, we were all a bit uncertain because college had finished early and we had no indication or any idea if it was going to start up again. So when Boris said that we'd be on lockdown, I was actually quite relieved because that meant I had a lot of time to myself to do whatever I wanted. One of the hardest things to adapt to in this pandemic was probably not being able to see my friends because it was such a huge shift from seeing all of them every day at college to now being told by Boris that, we had to stay at home for who knows how long. With the initial lockdown, I remember, even though it was a time of uncertainty, I remember thinking this is the most time I'll ever have to do whatever I want because I was free. I had no exams and I just had a lot of free time. And by that point, I was gradually getting used to the fact that we had to stay indoors. So I was spending a lot more time with my mum and my sister. And when it came to about August or September is when the cases were gradually falling. So I remember thinking, okay, maybe, we have a chance of actually seeing through the end of this. But then obviously cases rose up again, and then Boris started introducing more lockdowns, more tiers. I just remember feeling so agitated, and I know a lot of my friends felt the same because it just kept getting repetitive. What this pandemic has taught me, since we've been inside for almost all of it, I've learned that I can't manage my time well at all. Even with all the time that we had to do work, even though none of it was due, I still found myself leaving a lot of it to the last minute. The lockdowns had a massive impact on my ability to work, especially when I came to university. Because of the pandemic, we didn't have in-person lectures, so that means everything was taken online. But that also meant I didn't have my lecturers, pressing me to get work completed, and I had to complete work in my own time. But I just found it really hard to be motivated enough to do my work. My mental state took a rapid decline because of the lockdowns. I gained a lot of weight, which was something that didn't help, but it was more so the fact that I spent a lot of time isolated by myself, so I had a lot more time to think, which led to me developing mental health problems, and I just got really irritable and upset all the time because it was also this state of uncertainty because I was really scared that what if the UK never recovered from the virus, and it was always stressing me out. I'm very fortunate enough that my friends and I remained in contact throughout the entire lockdown. We talked to each other and made sure we were all okay. However, my relationship with my mother became a bit strained. She kept getting onto me about university and just other things, and I found that to be a bit stressful considering my mental state at the time. So I found myself locked in my room for a good majority of the lockdown. It makes me very annoyed and angry to know that there were some people who were not following the rules and regulations because they were quite simple. It was just to stay at home and not go out and social distance. But it seemed like a lot of people couldn't follow that, and it was even more annoying for the people that were following it, like me and my family and all my friends. It just felt so annoying to see other people have fun whilst the rest of us were stuck at home. When the restrictions are fully lifted and the country opens back up, I'm really looking forward to in-person lectures because I miss the work studying environment and just seeing people, and I think it would be quite nice to see all the people I've seen online face to face and get to know my course and the people on it. If I could offer any advice to anyone struggling with the current restrictions and lockdown, I would suggest that you shouldn't isolate yourself because that would be one of the worst things to do, especially since we're not allowed outside as much And I would recommend just speaking to your friends or family or whoever you may trust, because it is more likely that they are going through the same thing you're going through, because we are going through it together.